Rome. Hidden powers, secret societies, and forgotten engineering marvels. Togas, gladiators, and Caesar getting stabbed 23 times, that's the Rome you think you know. But behind the marble columns and epic battles lurked shadow networks that actually ran the empire, secret societies that could make or break emperors, and engineering marvels so advanced that modern engineers are still scratching their heads wondering, how in Jupiter's name did they do that? While you were busy watching Russell Crowe in Gladiator, the real power players of Rome were operating behind the scenes, pulling strings that would make modern political fixers blush. Forget everything your history teacher told you. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it certainly wasn't run by the people you thought. Rome, the civilization that gave us roads, aqueducts, and the inspiration for Vegas's Caesar's palace. But beneath the well-worn narratives of emperors and legions lies a Rome far more complex, secretive, and ingenious than most history books dare to mention. Today, we're peeling back the imperial curtain to explore three interconnected aspects of Roman civilization that rarely make the Hollywood cut. The hidden power structures that truly ran the empire, the secretive societies and cults that influenced politics from the shadows, and the mind-blowing engineering achievements that have been overshadowed by the Colosseum's Instagram popularity. So grab your scrolls and styluses. We're about to discover why all roads lead to Rome wasn't just about their impressive highway system, but about following the money, power, and technological innovation that made Rome the superpower of the ancient world. Part 1. The hidden power structures of the Roman Empire. Beyond the emperor's throne. History textbooks love their simple narratives. The emperor ruled Rome with absolute power, except, not really. Roman imperial power was a carefully choreographed dance between competing forces, with the emperor often acting more like a referee than a dictator. Take Emperor Claudius, portrayed in popular culture as a stammering puppet. In reality, he was playing 4D political chess, deliberately appearing weak while systematically dismantling the power of the Senate and transferring it to imperial bureaucrats who answered directly to him. Turns out the village idiot was actually the smartest guy in the room. The real Roman power structure resembled less a pyramid with the emperor at the top and more a spider web with multiple centers of gravity. And the spiders controlling these webs? Not always who you'd expect. The imperial household, the power behind the throne. If you wanted something done in ancient Rome, you didn't petition the emperor, you bribed his chamberlain. The imperial household staff, often slaves and freedmen, wielded astonishing informal power. Narcissus, a former slave who became Emperor Claudius's secretary, amassed a fortune equivalent to $300 million in today's money and orchestrated the execution of noble-born senators. Not bad for someone who, legally speaking, wasn't even considered a full citizen. Then there's Pallas, another freedman who controlled the empire's finances and became so wealthy that when Emperor Nero only offered him 15 million sesterces, about $15 million today, he politely declined the insultingly small sum. Talk about a power move. The historian Tacitus fumed that these former slaves were the real rulers of Rome, while senators, supposedly the elite of society, had to wait in line to kiss their rings. Imagine Jeff Bezos having to make an appointment to speak with the White House butler, and you'll get the picture. The Praetorian Guard, kingmakers and kingslayers. The Praetorian Guard, imperial bodyguards who proved remarkably bad at the guarding part, considering how many emperors they assassinated. Created to protect emperors, they quickly realized their strategic position made them power brokers. In 193 CE, after assassinating Emperor Pertinax, they literally auctioned the imperial throne to the highest bidder. Didius Julianus won, paying each guard 25,000 sesterces, about $25,000 today. History's most expensive job application fee, only to be executed 2 months later. Talk about a bad investment. Between 235 and 284 CE, the Praetorians helped cycle through emperors so quickly that the average reign lasted just 2 to 3 years. Less guard, and more human resources department from hell. The imperial cult, divine PR machine. Long before social media influencers, Roman emperors created the ultimate brand management system, imperial worship. The imperial cult wasn't just religious flattery, it was a sophisticated propaganda and governance network. Imperial cult priests weren't just performing empty rituals. They were political appointees who supervised tax collection, organized games, and maintained order. Think of them as a combination of IRS agents, entertainment producers, and local police chiefs, all dressed in impressive religious garb. By divinizing emperors, Rome created a power structure that bypassed traditional aristocratic networks. Can't argue with a living god, right? It was political genius disguised as religious devotion, the ultimate because I said so to end all political debates. Part 2. The secret societies that influenced Roman politics. The Bacchanalian conspiracy, Rome's first moral panic. In 186 BCE, Rome was gripped by scandal when authorities uncovered secret backseat cults allegedly engaging in every shocking behavior imaginable: ritual murder, sexual debauchery, and political conspiracy. The Senate responded by executing thousands and banning the worship of Bacchus throughout Italy. But here's the twist. Modern historians believe this dangerous cult was actually a religious movement popular among women and lower classes that was gaining too much power outside traditional Roman social structures. The conspiracy charges allowed the Senate to crush an organization that threatened the established order. When the Senate declared that Bacchic worshippers were forming a state within a state, they weren't concerned about orgies, they were terrified of losing control. It was less about protecting public morality and more about maintaining political monopoly. The original "Won't someone think of the children?" Moral panic. The Collegia, ancient labor unions with a side of conspiracy. Roman collegia were officially professional associations or burial clubs, but they functioned as a combination of labor unions, secret societies, street gangs, and political action committees. Julius Caesar banned all collegia because they had become powerful political forces that could mobilize thousands of urban workers for riots or votes. Augustus later reinstated them, but with imperial oversight and infiltration. Smart man, collegia controlled entire industries and neighborhoods, had their own treasuries, shrines, and hierarchies, and could shut down economic sectors through ancient versions of strikes. Imagine if your local plumbers union also ran your neighborhood, controlled local politics, practiced mysterious religious rites, and occasionally rioted. That's a Roman collegium. The collegia were so powerful that emperors alternately tried to suppress them, co-opt them, or infiltrate them, usually with limited success. When an emperor feared assassination, it wasn't just high-ranking senators who worried him. It was also what the butcher's collegium might be plotting in their secret meetings. The cult of Mithras, the secret brotherhood of Rome's elite. If you were a Roman military officer or civil servant climbing the career ladder, there was one exclusive club you wanted to join: the cult of Mithras. This mysterious all-male secret society conducted rituals in underground temples called Mithraea, had 7 levels of initiation, and required members to swear secrecy oaths so serious that we still don't fully understand their practices today. What makes Mithraism fascinating is its membership, not the poor or marginalized, but Rome's power elite. Archaeologists have found Mithraic temples in government buildings, military bases, and imperial properties across the empire. The cult reached its peak influence in the 2nd to 3rd centuries CE, precisely when career military men were dominating imperial politics. Imagine a religion combining elements of Freemasonry, skull and bones, and an executive networking group, whose temples have been found in the ancient equivalent of the Pentagon, CIA headquarters, and major government buildings. That's Mithraism, the ultimate old boys network of Roman politics. Isiac mysteries, the feminine counterpower. While men networked in Mithraic temples, powerful Roman women found their own secret society in the cult of Isis. This Egyptian goddess's mysteries attracted aristocratic women, businesswomen, and imperial family members. The cult was so influential that despite several senatorial attempts to ban it, emperors eventually gave up and officially recognized it, likely because too many powerful women, including their own wives, were devoted members. When Caligula built the first official temple to Isis in Rome, he wasn't just honoring an Egyptian goddess. He was acknowledging the political reality that the women's networks formed through this cult had become too powerful to suppress. Behind many imperial decisions were wives, mothers, and sisters whose political advice was shaped in the secret ceremonies of Isis. Part 3. Forgotten Roman engineering marvels. Beyond the Colosseum, Rome's real engineering triumphs. Yes, the Colosseum is impressive, but honestly, is just a big oval stadium with some clever seating arrangements. The real mind-blowing Roman engineering achievements are the ones tourists walk right past or that remain buried underneath modern cities. The floating pleasure palace of Lake Nemi. Emperor Caligula, not known for his subtlety, built two massive floating palaces on Lake Nemi that remained the largest ships in the world until the Renaissance. These weren't just big boats. They were technological marvels featuring the world's first ball bearings, complex plumbing systems, heated floors, and mosaic-tiled baths. The larger ship measured 240 feet long, the size of a modern cruise ship, and included temples, heating systems, and running water. The ball-bearing mechanisms recovered from the wrecks were so advanced that NASA engineers studied them when designing spacecraft components in the 20th century. That's right, parts of the Apollo mission were inspired by Caligula's party boat. Though these extraordinary vessels were recovered in the 1930s, they were tragically destroyed during World War II fighting. All that remains are a few bronze fittings and the knowledge that Romans were creating engineering marvels 2 millennia ago that would impress today's naval architects. The Barbagal water mills, Industrial Revolution Roman style. In Roman Gaul, modern France, archaeologists discovered something history-changing. The Barbagal mills, a massive industrial complex of 16 water wheels cascading down a hillside, capable of producing 25 to 30 tons of flour daily, enough to feed 80,000 people. This wasn't just a big mill. It was an industrial-scale production facility that wouldn't be matched until the early Industrial Revolution, some 1,700 years later. The complex employed advanced gearing systems, automatic feeders, and quality control mechanisms that demonstrate Romans weren't just good engineers. They were verging on industrialization. Had the empire not fallen, would Romans have launched an industrial revolution a millennium before it actually happened? The Barbagal complex suggests they were already on that path, just a few key innovations away from transforming their economy in ways we associate with 18th century Britain. Patience produces results. Many Egyptian innovations developed over centuries of incremental improvement, a stark contrast to our move fast and break things mentality. Sustainability matters. Egyptian technologies were designed to last, literally for eternity in many cases. Their monuments have survived thousands of years, while our modern structures often have lifespans measured in decades. Observation leads to insight. Without scientific instruments, Egyptians relied on careful observation of natural phenomena, developing deep understanding through generations of watching, recording, and analyzing. Integration beats specialization. Egyptian technologies typically integrated multiple knowledge domains, architecture with astronomy, medicine with chemistry, engineering with religion. This holistic approach produced innovations that might be missed by our highly specialized modern fields. The next time someone asks, "How did they build the pyramids?" you can smile knowingly and say, "That's actually the least interesting question about ancient Egyptian technology. From precision engineering to advanced medicine, from chemistry to astronomy, the ancient Egyptians weren't just pyramid builders. They were innovators whose technological achievements continue to astonish us thousands of years later. Perhaps their greatest technology wasn't any physical tool or technique, but rather their ability to think in timeframes that span millennia rather than fiscal quarters. In a world increasingly focused on the next product cycle or viral trend, the lasting legacy of Egyptian innovation offers a powerful reminder. The most impressive technologies aren't always the newest. Sometimes they're the ones that stand the test of time. So the next time you pop an aspirin, check your calendar, or admire precise stonework, remember to thank an ancient Egyptian inventor. They were creating solutions that would last for thousands of years while the rest of humanity was still figuring out how to keep their huts from leaking. Now that's what I call technological disruption. Which ancient Egyptian technology surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. What modern convenience do you think ancient Egyptians would be most impressed by? Or would they just roll their eyes at our innovations? If you could bring one piece of modern technology back to ancient Egypt, what would it be and why? The real lessons of Rome. Rome wasn't just emperors and gladiators. It was a complex civilization where official power structures were often facades hiding the real centers of influence, where secret networks shaped decisions that changed history, and where technological innovations were so advanced we're still trying to understand some of them today. Perhaps the most important lesson from examining these hidden aspects of Roman civilization is how familiar they look. Political fixers working behind the scenes. Private clubs where the real decisions get made. Infrastructure projects that enrich connected insiders. Technology controlled by specialized groups who guard their knowledge jealously. 2,000 years later, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. The togas and chariots may be gone, but the hidden systems of power, influence, and technological control that really made Rome work are still very much with us today. So the next time you see a documentary about emperors and battles, remember, that's just the reality show version of Roman history. The real action was happening behind the scenes, in secret meetings, and deep within the engineering projects that made the empire possible. After all, as the Romans themselves might say, cui bono, who benefits? Follow that question through history, and you'll find the real story every time. Which of Rome's hidden power players surprised you the most? If you could join one Roman secret society, which would you choose and why? What forgotten Roman engineering achievement do you think deserves more recognition? Do you see parallels between Rome's hidden power structures and modern political systems? Share your thoughts below.